we have completely protected our RESTful API right now. But as you may realize, we have different kind of protections depending on the root. We have roots that only need an access token with the client credentials, but other roots require the user credentials as well. So let's just see what happens if we try to obtain, for example, the list of users, that is a root protected with the Auth API word. As you can see, we have this unauthenticated response, and you may are thinking that this is because we are not sending an access token. So let's try to obtain a client credentials access token. And if we use it, we can see how we're still being unauthorized. But of course, if we try to obtain the categories, this same access token is going to work. So you can see that this middleware for users and the other remaining roots is more restrictive. So what we are going to see now is how to obtain an access token using the password grant type. There exist any other grant types, of course, but during this class we are going to see an alternative way to obtain an access token using, again, the client credentials and the user credentials to obtain a password grant type access token. So for this, we need to create first a new client that uses the grant type password, basically a password client. So for that, we just need to go and execute the PHP artisan passport client, but specifying an option that says password. In this way, we are going to create a password client. Just specify a name, and we are done. Just copy the secret, and we can now obtain an access token using this client. Now, let's try to use this same recently created client to obtain an access token, but using the client credentials too. So as you can see, even if it is a password client, it is still being a valid client, so we can obtain access tokens for client credentials using this. So now what we can do is to obtain a password access token. So the grant type is going to change to password. The client credentials are the same, but now if we send, you can see that we need the username and, in fact, the password. The username is going to be an email, and the password is going to be secret, because remember that all the users that we inserted our database has secret as a password. So let's obtain a valid email from our database. Let's use whatever that you went here and paste it here. Now if we send, you can see that we have the access token and the refresh token. For now, we are just going to use the access token, and let's paste it here in order to have access. Now we have a valid access token with user credentials associated, so we have access to this. Now, what happens if we try to access a root that is protected by the client credentials middleware, for example, for products? Well, it is still working, because remember that it doesn't matter if it has user stuff or not. It only needs to be a valid access token from a valid client. So as you can see, with this access token, we have access to whatever root of our RESTful API currently. But of course, we are going to restrict these things a little more in the future sections and classes. For now, we know how to use and create access tokens using the password grant type. See you in the next class.